Hey, what's up, guys? This is Elias on chess.com. I'm checking out some stuff right now on the website, and I am actually going over some tactics. Something I thought that would be pretty interesting to go over is some beginner level stuff. One of the important things in the game is a strategy called the Scholar's Mate. A lot of people don't know the name, but they do know what it does. So in this instance, I'm going to go ahead and line it up. I'm going to develop as normal with opening with the Owens defense, and he is lining up. So remember this image as far as white's line goes, and it can work vice versa, obviously, with black. So when you see your opponent mobilize both his queen and his light squared bishop in this formation, he is eyeing down on the f7 square on my line. That is the weakest pawn in your whole entire line because it's on the king's side, and there's really nobody that can defend it except for the king. So if he were to drop down, that is a checkmate, and that's what's known as the Scholar's Mate. This is a really beginner level tactic. If you try to use this against a seasoned player, it will not work because they've already gone through it. If you've lost to it, you never forget that loss. But yeah, so as we continue, the best way to break this attack is to literally move the e7 pawn to e6. As we continue, if you look at what happened now, he's going to have to go through one more pawn that's backed up by two pawns, and that's not going to really work in his favor. So he's invested the time to at least do that much in his strategy. He's 4 moves in now, and I'm not really developing how I should because I'm having to use some prophylactics there. But the next step in this process, and to get some easy material, or even an exchange as far as him recapturing whatever you take, is going to lie with your queenside knight. When you have your queenside knight pulled out, you're going to jump him here, and then you're shooting for the e5 square. Once you do this, you're forking his queen and his light squared bishop. So you've not only broken the attack, but now you're about to come up on some material. And if you look at the way that he's set up his line, he's cut off his ability to move back to the e2 square so he can recapture when I take the light squared bishop. He can't move here because obviously my knight is exerting his force there, so he's unable to occupy that square without losing his queen. So he's going to have to move a little bit out of the way and lose that easy piece. So he's going to try to apply pressure there, but I'm going to move back. So let's go over that one more time so I can have you guys see exactly how this works. So he's going to open up there. When he opens up in front of the king, king's pawn opening, that's usually an indicator. I've seen a lot of guys more often than not actually play it a little bit closer to the chess on e3, but he advanced to e4. So as we continue, he's going to bring both pieces out, and then he's going to eye down on that square. We're going to break the attack by moving forward from e7 to e6 with the pawn. Breaks the attack. From that point, now I'm going to mobilize my knight so I can get that fork in there. So I'm simultaneously attacking 2 of his pieces. He can't do anything about it. I'm taking that, putting his queen in danger, and then moving back towards my line. So as we continue to develop, I'm going to develop as normal. Obviously, I'm not going to open up and fianchetto my dark squared bishop, so I'm going to delay that action. But I am going to threaten his queen again. I'll go ahead and make this trade because I'm sapping more strength from him. I already have a light squared bishop taken, and if he exchanges his knight, which he does, I'm going to go ahead and retake. So now I have 2 minor pieces taken off the board that I don't have to worry about. Now he's coming in for another simple, easy attack. He's going to try to eye down here and break into my line and start taking whatever he wants at that point on my king side. I know my king side is my weakness, but I'm still not too worried about it. I see this attack coming, so what I'm going to do, instead of bulging out my line and moving my pawn formation to letting him dictate the tempo of the game, I'm going to deny him of that. So I'm going to move my knight out. I will make the exchange, and from there, I'm going to directly challenge his queen. He's a pretty queen-dominant player, and a lot of new players are. And that's something to keep in mind because once you kind of notice that trend, you start to see a lot of the defects in his playing style. A lot of younger players or newer players are really queen dominant, and that's because they think it's the best piece, which it kind of is. But then again, you don't need to have your queen do all of the work all of the time. A more competent player would probably keep his queen in reserve in order to make some better tactical decisions. But this guy's going for an easy win on a consistent basis, and it just doesn't look like it's going to pan out for him. So the more aggressive the player is, usually that's better for me because I know I can pick a strategy apart. So he's going to go ahead and back out. I'm going to centralize my queen and then kind of play the game from there. I'm going to bolster the defense on that pawn and let the game kind of continue. So I'm going to challenge him again, and he just wants no part of that. Okay, so one of the important parts is I'm not scared to lose my queen here, and I'm consistently challenging because I know he's so queen heavy. So as this continues, he's going to drop this pawn here, and it's going to block this dark squared diagonal here, which is totally fine. And I'm going to use this pawn. They call it like a pawn nail, and that's, you know, not a big deal. But while he's so focused on the attack, I'm going to snag some more easy material. As we continue, I'm going to continue to snatch material. I told this guy at one point in the game that this isn't going to be an easy win, so you know he needs to brush up on his tactics a little bit. I have seen this played so often and won all of the games, or most of them, when a player employs this kind of strategy that I just tell him I almost feel insulted sometimes. So this is not the way to go as a player. You want to be a little bit more competent than just going for the easy win, because you're going to end up losing a lot more than you win. So as we continue, he's going to continue applying pressure. But if you kind of look at what I'm setting up here, I have my queen. I am down on that pawn on f2. And then I have my rook. And then I can go ahead and bring up my dark squared bishop onto the c5 square. And so I have a triple threat right there on that pawn. And it's not looking too hot for this guy. So I'm going to go ahead and take that. And then because he moved with his pawn there, I just made a developmental move while coming up with material at the same time. So I was kind of waiting for him to drop that pawn so I could go ahead and just hammer him. And so now that I'm all set up for this attack, he kind of realizes it. Oh. He kind of realizes it and is moving to attack, but he makes another blunder. I go ahead and take his queen with like no issue whatsoever. And that's pretty much the end of the game right there. So I was able to eliminate this, I wouldn't say very tactically inclined player, tactical or positional. Just a very, he's a noob is what he is. So with that being said, you can win a lot of games just by playing smart. You start to see how he positions himself, because a lot of my strategy, I'm just reading the other guy. He's telegraphing most of his attacks, so that's going to dictate exactly what my strategy or playing style is going to be. One of the awesome things about the Owens defense that I can honestly tell you with that hyper-modern strategy is that it's an extremely defensible but fluid strategy. You can do a lot with it, and it's you could do a lot with ease with the strategy because it is so fluid. I think as a player you have to be confident enough to have the tools in order to be more fluid and easy going in your strategy, and being able to switch gears at a moment's notice. It's so defensive that I think it really caters to somebody who is newer to the game, and you're not going out there being super aggressive like some of these other guys are. And because they are so aggressive, they start to really fall to bits once they come against a confident player who knows exactly what they're doing or the tools they have in their toolbox. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and call it here. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned a little bit about the Scholar's Mate and then the tall tale signs of what to watch out for when you are playing the game. All right, guys, take it easy.